To yet another Innistrad Flashback Draft. Let's go ahead and dive into our first pack. Looking at the rare, we've got Kessig Cage Breakers. Very strong card, a 5 mana 3/4 human, if that has relevant synergies, such as through the Hamlet Captain. But just by attacking, you're going to create an army of wolf creature tokens that are also tapped and attacking, one for every creature in your graveyard. So this is a great curve topper in a green-red or green-white aggressive kind of deck, where your early drops are going to be trading off with the opponents, hopefully, ending up in the grave. You can make use of them again through the Cage Breakers turn after turn. I think we're going to start things off by taking that. Works well in a werewolf or, as I said, human strategy. There's also the Hamlet Captain, which we're sad to not take, and a Gallows Warden, more suited for the blue-white spirits deck. But aside from that, not really much else that we're missing out on. Voiceless Spirit, Self-Off Occultist, Vampire Interloper. These are all fine cards, but I don't think any compare to the power of the Cage Breakers. Where do we go from there? So, not really seeing anything for werewolves or humans, unfortunately. But what I am seeing is the possibility of maybe a spider spawning deck. This is a blue-green based deck. Might be splashing a third color, especially in black, so that you can flash back the namesake of the deck, the spider spawning. What that will do is give you a 1/2 spider token for every creature in the graveyard, and it can be flashed back for a second round of them. So Mulch would facilitate that by not only making sure that you get those land drops, but also fill your graveyard with creatures, whether they die through combat or they're just milled by mulching them, sacrificing them to a Stitcher's Apprentice, or discarding them some other way. There's really not much else that we're missing out on, and Mulch is not a premium card by any measure. If we were going to try and stick to maybe a green-white strategy, I might take the Moment of Heroism or even the Thraben Sentry. I'm just going to take the Mulch and kind of hope that we luck into what I think is the most fun deck in the format, Spider Spawning. Aside from maybe Burning Vengeance, it's a very close tie between those two for me. So here, in that vein, we have the Armored Scob, which, again, is neither a human nor werewolf, but does work well with the Cage Breakers, for the same reason that Mulch does, by putting stuff into the graveyard and just by being a good blocker to kind of guide us into the later game where the Cage Breakers can shine. I think we're going to take that. I wouldn't mind having a Traveler's Amulet or Orchard Spirit. We do need creatures, whether we're going to be using them with the Cage Breakers or if we're lucky enough to find a spider spawning. The best card in the pack is probably the Spectral Rider, if we were to go with green-white, but let's see if we can luck out and open a spider spawning in packs 2 or 3. Usually you don't get them passed to you, so it's very difficult to actually build the deck. But we'll see what we can do here. And yeah, this is going to be a difficult choice here. So there's 3 very good cards for us: the Laboratory Maniac, the Civilized Scholar, and the Runic Repetition. If we were to go with green-white, there's also the Avacyn's Pilgrim, and even the Somberwald Spider would be acceptable. Runic Repetition is a sort of an enabler for those going infinite strategies. There is a certain critical mass of flashback spells you can hit with Runic Repetition, and it is very difficult, almost impossible, to deck yourself in the spider spawning deck. It also goes very well in Burning Vengeance for a second round of flashback. There's the Civilized Scholar, who is a creature. He can loot some stuff into the grave for you on demand. There's also the Laboratory Maniac, who, if you're going to be decking yourself, then good way to have a secondary win condition in the form of the Laboratory Maniac. I think of these 3, the Scholar's got to be the safest pick. I'm going to take that. I hope that's correct. I would love to have gotten either of the other 2 as well, but I think Runic Repetition is more easily able to be found later in the draft. Usually you only need 1 copy, sometimes a second, so the fact that there's 1 already circulating in the first pack, if any further ones are opened, I think we've got a good shot of getting it. And the Laboratory Maniac is fine, but it's really not the way that you want to win in spider spawning. You'd rather just have the card itself and win with spiders. I'm going to take another Mulch, same reason that we took the first. I guess there's also Cellar Door, which can mill you while sometimes generating some value. Don't really think we need it all that much, though. And besides that, it's just another Spider, Typhoid Rats, Bitterheart Witch. Let's take the Mulch. Alright, well there's another Runic Repetition. I could take the Sensory Deprivation or the Grave Bramble. These are fine cards to kind of blunt your opponent as they're assailing you early in the game. Sensory Deprivation is one of the best turn 1 answers to like a Reckless Waif or something that's going to get through a lot of damage otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and take the Runic Repetition now, so we don't necessarily have to... wow, I was going to say so we don't have to worry about it for later, but there's another one. I was not expecting 3 of the same uncommon, and almost back-to-back-to-back packs. I think there was 1 in between. There's also Wreath of Geists, which, again, if you're going to be milling yourself, putting lots of creatures in the grave, it's a pretty effective way to turn a somewhat innocuous creature, like an Armored Scob, into an actual threat. And then there's also Ghoul Caller's Bell. I'm just going to take the Repetition, however. With this, it is, I think, going to be very easy, if we get the Spider Spawning card, to make use of it again and again and again. Gnaw to the Bone, you need, I think, at least probably just 1 of these. Sometimes a second, but generally just 1. You're going to gain tons and tons of life every time you cast it with a graveyard full of creatures. This is very easily replaceable, whereas the Dream Twist is less so. If we can get like 3, maybe even 4 of these, you can just churn through your deck faster than in virtually any other combination of cards. So we're going to take that over the Skurstag Cultist. Red is definitely probably where we would be if we were trying to draft a more fair deck, but let's go ahead and try to make the most of what we've got so far. There's Make-A-Wish, which isn't really what you necessarily need to do. I guess it's one way to buy back your Runic Repetitions, things like that, if you need them. There are better ways to do that, however. And then there's Frightful Delusion, which is just a very weak sort of Force Spike, expensive one. But it does guarantee discarding a card from your opponent, whether they pay or not. It can be a 2-for-1, but we're just going to take the Make-A-Wish. Don't know if we're actually going to play it, though. We're going to send the signal that we're not in white or red, I think. Take this Mask of Avacyn, and again, kind of the same thing. I actually will take the Ancient Grudge. If we mill it, it's easy enough to flash it back, and there are some artifacts that you really do need to answer, so don't need the second one, however. And a Naturalize, well, I really don't think we're going to actually be playing the Cellar Door. I will take it anyway. Naturalize is, well, okay. I was going to say Naturalize is much easier to come by, but we got back-to-back doors. That's fine. Alright, so the card we need is Spider Spawning. We also would like Memory's Journey, another Gnaw to the Bone to come by, more Dream Twists, and then more creatures. That's basically the deck in a nutshell, and hopefully I can demonstrate how it actually works. It is fairly straightforward. Mill yourself, cast Spider Spawning, and profit, but there's a little bit more intricacy to timing your Dream Twists and Memory's Journeys and Runic Repetition, but we're really just looking for good creatures like the Armored Scob. There's another one. Unfortunately, I did not open the Spider Spawning. There's a Lumberknot here. Bloodgift Demon would be an excellent addition to our deck. It's a little difficult on the mana, however. It feels bad to take like a Claustrophobia or a Scob over it. Lumberknot is not really the creature that we're looking for. It's just kind of not that impactful, a little expensive. If we're not sold on Spider Spawning, we could just take the Demon and potentially be playing blue-black. We'd have to kind of abandon a lot of our earlier picks, of course. Bloodgift Demon is quite great, however. Let's try and force it. I'm going to go ahead and take the Armored Scob here. We don't really need the removal. We have creatures that can block almost indefinitely. Let's just go ahead and take the Armored Scob and hope that we get rewarded for it. Claustrophobia, again, and a Valiant Drownyard, actually, would not be the worst pick. There's the Memory's Journey and the Boneyard Worm. This is probably one of the best 2-drops that you can find because it's easy to go like turn 1 Dream Twist and then have at least one creature in the grave to play a turn 2 Boneyard Worm, and it just gets bigger and bigger from there. It's also a fine top deck later in the game if you're having trouble stabilizing or something. One of the few 2-drops that's actually impactful late in the game. Here's Memory's Journey, however, which when you pair it with Runic Repetition allows you to essentially go infinite. You can mill yourself or just cast this from your hand, putting cards like Runic Repetition, Spider Spawning back into your deck, continue to mill yourself, and then once you get down to your last card before you deck, you can always Runic Repetition back the exiled Memory's Journey and repeat ad nauseum. So the deck does function without this card, but it's so much stronger with it. I'm actually just going to go ahead and take it and get it out of the way. We're kind of all in on the strategy now. Hopefully we get back either the Worm or the Drownyard. Be happy to play either. But really we're just hoping to open the card that we're looking for. above all others in the spawning. There's Blasphemous Act, Grave Bramble, Lost in the Mist, Caravan Vigil, Brain Weevil. There's lots of stuff here for us. We're not necessarily happy to play more black cards than just the second half of Spider Spawning or like a Forbidden Alchemy. Flashing those back justify the black splash. Diagraph Ghoul, not as much. But it is a creature, whether we mill it ourselves or if we find that swamp to play it. It's either that or like just a boring Grave Bramble or a Caravan Vigil. I guess we just take the Ghoul for now. Alright, Deranged Assistant is great in that it's a cheap, expendable creature, and it even can accelerate you into better things, and while it does so, it's filling your grave with cards, hopefully creatures, or flashback spells. And then there's also the Claustrophobia, the Boneyard Worm, and Gnaw to the Bone. I'm just going to take the Boneyard Worm here. I think, again, being an uncommon, we'll find more Deranged Assistants, most likely, and we don't necessarily need Claustrophobia. This is it's a very effective deck, and it can survive without Silent Departures, Sensory Deprivations, and Claustrophobias. Unlike most other blue-based decks, it has its own manner of protection. The Hollowhenge Scavenger, not all that necessary, but it's a fine way to maybe gain some life later, and it's just another creature to fill our ranks here. There's also the Orchard Spirit, the Makeshift Mauler, which is an effective creature and would fill in our curve nicely, but it is kind of competing with cards like Spider Spawning and Boneyard Worm by removing creatures from the graveyard forever. We're just going to take the Scavenger here, be happy enough. Tribute to Hunger, again, don't necessarily need removal all that much, whereas a Sell-Off Occultist is a good way to facilitate self-milling. There's also the Dark Thicket Wolf, which is a good 2-drop that can actually block up to 3, maybe even 4 drops pretty effectively. So, nice defensive pick. Either way, we're just going to take the Occultist. It goes better with what we've got, I feel. Alright, a whole bunch of red and white cards. We'll just take the Prey Upon, I suppose. Likely not to play it necessarily. Well, yeah, go ahead and take it. And the Drownyard did come back. This was the other Boneyard Worm. I think there's like maybe a Claustrophobia here too, I forget. There's also Curse of the Bloody Tome. We're just going to take the Drownyard. It is a win condition in itself. It can either be directed towards us to enable our strategy, or it can deck the opponent potentially. With enough Dream Twisting, we can actually, and Curse of the Bloody Tome, we could be a mill deck, maybe. I'll go ahead and take that, however. Cultist still in the pack. If we were in red, we would be very happy to see that. There's another Boneyard Worm. Yeah, go ahead and happily take that. And the Grave Bramble and the Caravan Vigil both came back. I guess we can take the Vigil to help us hit that lone swamp that we might play. Better than a Grave Bramble here at this point, I think. And the Deranged Assistant even came back, so I think we're just missing the one card, really. I would settle for just a single Spider Spawning. It's obviously nice to have 2. Being able to cast it from the hand reliably, and then get a second volley if you can't find that Runic Repetition or something. It's generally better to cast it from your hand, because that will help you get that second cast off, and it's cheaper. It's only 5 from the hand, 7 from the grave. So that's the one card we're really looking for. Deck doesn't quite function without it, although we do have the Kessig Cage Breakers, thankfully. Where we're not so committed to this, we might be able to have worked like a Drownyard and Alchemist, the Insane Alchemist guy, be able to deck ourselves effectively, but it is not to be. There's Rooftop Storm, not the uncommons that we're looking for, another Sell-Off Occultist and Orchard Spirit. We're just going to take the Dream Twist, however. We are running out of chances to pick up a Spider Spawning, but we need only believe, and surely we'll be rewarded. And there it is. Alright, so there's the Spider Spawning. I honestly was beginning to doubt our chances just a little bit, but this is the card we came to draft. Unfortunately, we're passing on a Forbidden Alchemy, I guess a Deadweight, and Woodland Sleuth. These are all playable, but especially the Alchemy. That's a fantastic card for digging for what you really need to find and filling the grave at the same time. But yeah, Spider Spawning, create a 1/2 token for with reach for every creature card in the grave, and Flashback. All right, we're back in the game now. Another fantastic enchantment, or card, uncommon rather, Burning Vengeance enchantment. That is a very fun, easy to build around card. A bit easier than spider spawning, but not sure yet which one is actually more powerful. Depends on the makeup of the deck. We have an Undead Alchemist, which is a way to mill our opponents while churning through a bunch of zombies, churning out a bunch of zombies. There's also another Civilized Scholar, Claustrophobia, and Think Twice, I think, and also even the Festerhide Boar, another creature. Might just take the Scholar here. There is the Alchemist, and he seems pretty decent. He can make an army of his own, should he survive. I guess he kind of works with the Armored Scobs. Yeah, let's have some fun with some rares here. There's the Civilized Scholar, would be great. A looter, able to get to what we need while also drawing our cards and putting things into the gray. That's what we're looking for, but yeah, Undead Alchemist seems more fun. There's another Armored Scob, but there's also Murder of Crows. I think, if not the best common, the best uncommon in the format, it is certainly one of them. Maybe competing with like a Slayer of the Wicked and not much else. This is a 4/4 flyer for 5. That's already pretty strong. And whenever any creature dies, aside from itself, another creature, you get to draw and discard. That's what we're looking for. Unfortunately, passing on yet another Armored Scob, but yeah, it's hard to say no to the Crow. And this is why I really like spider spawning, is even cards like Fortress Crab are great pickups because they're creatures. That's really the only hard requirement, a castable creature. But also with huge toughness like this, it's going to essentially, it's almost like a removal spell. It just takes one of your opponent's creatures out of the fight, and it feels real bad for your opponent to try and waste like a Victim of Night or some premium removal spell on dealing with the crab. However, there's also the Dark Thicket Wolf and a Silent Departure. Again, our deck doesn't quite need removal. I really like Silent Departure, but I think we're just better off taking creatures in this case. I prefer the Dark Thicket Wolf to the Crab here, I think. Yeah, let's go ahead and take that one. Not sure which one would serve our deck better, but I'm going to generally err on the more castable lower mana cost, and this thing is even able to get in for some damage. We can kill our opponents without the spider spawning. We've got the Hollowhenge Scavenger, Kessig Cage Breakers, and Murder of Crows. These are all fully capable of doing that, and even cards like Undead Alchemist and the Boneyard Worms can be quite large. There's the Forbidden Alchemy, also a Gutter Grime. Kind of cool. Non-token creature you control dies, so it doesn't work with an army of spider tokens. I think for that reason, we can pass on that and the Sensory Depth. We're just going to take the Alchemy. It's good to have just one. Another Memories Journey. We already took one. I don't think a second one really is necessary at all. It's easily flashed back, and with double Runic Repetition, we should be able to easily loop through repeatedly. So we're just going to take an Armored Scob here, I think. Also like a Stitcher's Apprentice and the Boar, but yeah, let's take the Scob. Ooh, Hamlet Captain and a Curse of the Bloody Tome. Just take the easy 2-drop. Yeah, not much else to say. Kindercatch, Curse, not really what we're looking for right now. Orchard Spirit over a Rooftop Storm and a Spidery Grasp. And a Wooden Sleuth came back even. So yeah, this is the last little bit of the pack. Actually still with some interesting choices. Think Twice is fine in that it's a good early play if you absolutely need to find some action, if you're struggling for land drops or 2, 3, 4 drop to protect you. There's also Wreath of Geists. We already have ways to win though. I'm just going to take the Think Twice here, as well as the Spider, and the Crab did come back. We took the Dark Thicket Wolf over him, but he stuck around. So this really came together. Thankfully, we mercifully did find the spawning, which makes this deck possible. And this is, I'd say it's got all the tools it needs except for a Gnaw to the Bone. I was wrong. We did not end up getting another one of those back, sadly. I think we passed one, maybe two, but there was generally always something else worth taking over it. So, sad to say, we will not be gaining infinite life, but we do have all the other tools necessary to spawn our way to victory. We do have to make a number of cuts, however. Diagraph Ghoul, Prey Upon. Basically anything that interacts with the opponent we don't actually need. Things like removal. We generally are just trying to buy a little bit of time. You don't need much. Unfortunately, without Gnaw to the Bone, we won't be able to use our life total as a resource so flippantly. it's very easy to let through those early hits and then just recover all of your life with a simple 3-mana spell with Flashback. But here we'll have to actually kind of manage our life total into the late game. So what can we cut here? I kind of like almost all of our creatures except for the Woodland Sleuth. We don't really need. The Crab I won't start off with, but we'll see if we need it later. And we don't need the 1 Spider for 5 mana when we can get a whole lot more. Caravan Vigil is fine, but I think Double Mulch will help us out just fine. Don't really need to think twice even. And maybe one of these creatures we can cut. Probably an Orchard Spirit. Let's recombine those. Might be able to get away with just 16 lands because of things like Double Mulch. We do need 7 in play to cast the Flashback Spider spawning, but again, this deck can go for quite some time. Can survive for quite a while when we're playing all these 1/4s and 2-drops that will be very much bigger than that, hopefully. Problem is that without life gain, we do have to actually hasten our plan here. So maybe we can cut 1 more card and get back to 17 lands. What would it be though? Probably an unimpressive creature like Orchard Spirit, maybe? Yeah, it's also for playing an Athalia Drownyard. I'd like to have the full 17. So yeah, I think this is going to be it. We'll play maybe just 2 Swamps, 7 blue, 7 green, and a Drownyard. 7/7/2, is that enough? I think so. We only really need 1. Well, I really want to be able to cast Mulch, as that's going to pretty much guarantee that we hit our land drops up until 3, 4, and 5, and we can generally assume that there's going to be a blue in there. Don't actually really need double of either color, thankfully. It's just a couple of our 5-drops that are more strict mana requirements. So let's actually go up to 8 and 6, I think. 8 islands, 6 forests, 2 swamps, and a Drownyard. And we can adjust as time goes on. So this is the first spider spawning deck that we've managed to draft successfully. Let's go ahead and try it out in match 1, coming right up. Hello again everyone, here we are in match 1 on the draw with a fairly solid hand. We've got all the lands we need for quite some time, including all of our colors. And even though we're not going to be able to play the Boneyard Worm on turn 1, or excuse me, on turn 2, unless we had managed to draw a Dream Twist, then maybe. I think with Forbidden Alchemy, we'll be able to get what we need, and then we can maybe find another 2-drop, play that in the same turn 4, with the Boneyard Worm. So, looks like we could be up against a mirror match. We'll see. Yep. Could be back to Spider Mirrors. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, just going to go ahead and Forbidden Alchemy here, see what our opponent's got going on, and who can churn through the deck faster. We'll find out. Yeah, that's like a Moan of the Unhallowed. Okay, we can answer that well enough. Opponent's going to hit us for 1 here. We'll get to Alchemy. There's our Drownyard, but also our Scob, which doesn't keep our opponent from attacking necessarily, but it does go through our deck very quickly. A Mulch, we already have so many lands accounted for that this is also likely just going to dump a bunch of things in the grave, and that will pair nicely with the Boneyard Worm. Let's actually, yeah, just go ahead and dump the Scob away. Take a Mulch, I think, over a Drownyard here. Drownyard could be good against our opponent if it comes down to decking, but that's unlikely. But this way also we can even play the Mulch and the Boneyard Worm together. Ooh, even an Undead Alchemist, that's also passable. I think we're still just going to go with the Mulch play, however. We managed to hit 2 lands, put a Wolf and a Runic Repetition in the bin. That could have been better, but I think we'll be fine. Still just a 2/2. We're not going to trade it for one of these zombie tokens just yet. We're not under that much duress. And we have all the lands we'll ever need. Unfortunately, we did lose a Runic Repetition, but we can get that back with Memory's Journey. Oh, alright, we're up against zombies. Our opponent is probably not going to attack us here because that would limit them to just a a single zombie, and that's not enough to go ham with us. So they are going to be content just to kind of sit there and let their army develop. We'll attack with the worm, try and bait them into blocking with one. I doubt they do. Could have played the Hollowhenge Scavenger or something after that. That's okay. Let's just play the Undead Alchemist for now. Our opponent is going to have a stream of 2/2s, able to block it quite easily, however. Endless Ranks of the Dead, huh? So maybe they're not actually spawning spiders. It's hard to imagine that this color combination they're not. They could just be like a blue-black deck, though, splashing green for something. We'll see what happens. We can beat them, definitely, given enough time to draw into our spider spawning and looping through, unless they have some kind of graveyard interaction. I think we'll be okay here, though. They're going to leave back the Stitcher's Apprentice to be able to sacrifice a zombie in response and make another 2/2 blocker, something like that. I don't want our Undead Alchemist to hit them, probably. Rotting Fen Snake. That does not concern us. Finding all these lands is a bit unfortunate, but we do have a Forbidden Alchemy coming next turn, probably. For now, I think we're just going to play... Could do another Boneyard Worm. Let's just play out the Scavenger. Use up our mana. And it will block these zombies well enough. They are getting 2 zombies a turn now, as the Rotting Fen Snake is a zombie too. So we will have to answer this eventually, but we can go infinite just as they can. But I don't know to what degree. We will actually, be in a bit of trouble if we don't find an answer to that Endless Ranks at some point. Okay, we'll trade off here, and yeah, we're just going to keep putting stuff in the graveyard, actually. This Undead Alchemist is never getting through anyway. So now they can probably, like, sacrifice something to make a 2/2. I don't know why they would care. Probably just want to kill our creatures. Okay. So they're still getting 2 a turn. Could play out the Captain and the Worm, and then next turn we have the Alchemy. Let's actually just go ahead and take a hit here. We're only going to take like 8. We're getting low, but I think it's necessary to use the Boneyard Worm here. Not actually seen this card be good before, but here it is. Spawning an endless army of the dead. Getting it down to 3 life. Hopefully we find something here. We have kind of managed to hit nothing but lands, unfortunately. Wondering if the Armored Scout would have been a better pick over the Mulch. But let's try and make the most of this. See what we got. Alright, Civilized Scholar and a Dream Twist. I do like Dream Twist, but we kind of really need a Spider Spawn. So actually I will take the Dream Twist. Again, puts a creature in the grave, and this way, even if we don't find the Spider Spawning now, we can use Dream Twist to maybe mill it, and then we'll still have enough mana to cast it by Flashback. That's the only way that we're going to survive here, unfortunately. Alright, we found the Memory's Journey, but still no Spider Spawning. So, unfortunately, we are dead. Alright. Our opponent likely knows what we are playing. I don't know what they could have necessarily to side in against it. We might actually need to bring in some interaction. I think we actually lost the Naturalize because we took a Cellar Door over it. So we don't have that out to it. Can always maybe attempt to counter it with a Frightful Delusion. And aside from that, there's really not much else. So, let's actually take the draw. We can actually bring out a land, I think, against our opponent. It is easy enough for us to find that black mana source, so I think we can actually shave a swamp here. Don't want to lose too many of our primary color sources. I think this will actually be okay. We will take the draw here. Alright. We have Brilliant Repetition, so if we find one of our important flashback spells, we'll be able to cast it a second time. I'm going to go and keep this. We've got double Dream Twist as well. I think we're going to go ahead and cast it on ourselves. Okay, unfortunately we hit the Frightful Delusion and the Drown Yard, and no creatures as well. So that was a pretty poor mill, but we'll make do. Two turns to draw an island. We can play turn 4 Murder of Crows. And at the very least we have a Hollow Hinge Scavenger. So let's go ahead and mill, hitting an island. Let's go ahead and mill ourselves once more. Oh, that was from, oops. That was from my hand. I meant to flashback the other, but that's okay. So we still have both Dream Twists in the grave. I apologize for that. And we did hit the spider spawning, so we're just looking for a swamp now. Rotting Fence Snake. Probably going to have to trade off the Deranged Assistant for it, sadly. Might take a hit here. If they have claustrophobia, they'll be able to take care of our Murder of Crows, but that's fine. So we're going to mill ourselves. We still haven't hit the swamp, thankfully. We don't have to waste. We don't have to wait until we find Memory's Journey and shuffle it back in. We are hoping to draw that swamp still, naturally. We'll go ahead and play out these crows. Opponent doesn't have double black yet for Endless Ranks, nor enough zombies, so it would be a do-nothing card at this point. Let's see what they do have. Gutter Grime, okay, that's fine. We're going to take our hit here. So we've got all these Dream Twists, still can't flashback Spider Spawning or the Alchemy, that's okay. We're actually going to leave back the Assistant now. Try to bash our opponent. We're going to miss out on the Morbid effect here, but that's alright. Whatever they do, we're going to try and deal with that Fence Snake here. I might actually still be able to mill. We'll save the bigger blocker for something here. And we hit Undead Alchemist. We get to even draw 2 cards now. Or loot 2. I guess we've got enough islands to make do. And enough forests for sure. Another Fence Snake. No problem. Armored Scab will be an excellent blocker for that. And now we're probably going to start getting into territory where we hit our swamp, but that's okay, because as long as we hit the Memory's Journey, we have the Runic Repetition, we can flash it back repeatedly, so actually we could probably start milling as much as we want. Just try and get to that swamp as soon as possible and end the game. Let's see what we hit. Just another Armored Scab and some land, mulch. Alright, I'm actually going to hang on to this forest so that we have things to loot away. If our opponent attacks, we'll happily trade the Scab for it. They get a 2/2 now off the Gutter Grime. Draw a mulch. Yeah, I'll keep that. And a Hamlet Captain. It's nice to have a blocker, but I think we just want the mulch to hit that swamp, and then the real fun begins. Opponent's got some troublesome enchantments to deal with. The Gutter Grime, not so much, really. And without any zombies in play, the Endless Ranks isn't really much of a concern either. Pretty soon we're going to get to do what we want though. A 4/5, that's going to have trouble getting through our Scavenger. Typhoid Rats, don't really care if that gets through our Scavenger. Kessage Cage Breakers, alright. Would be nice to play those out. Even if they only get 1 attack through, it's enough to make a decent army with which to block. We're just going to go ahead and mulch here, I think. Even though we won't be able to play the cage breakers after. We do hit our lands. And now, we really just need to survive one more turn, and we'll get to do quite a bit of fun stuff. We've got 8 creatures. I always like Boneyard Worms because it's a good indicator of how many creatures are in the graveyard. So right now we're going to get 8 spiders. Maybe more if the Hollow Henge Scavenger dies somehow. I don't know how our opponent can really win after that point. Hopefully they don't have a Memory's Journey of their own to shuffle certain important things back in. It's really better that we get to control what gets discarded. Here, we don't necessarily need the the Murder of Crows to loot. We kind of have what we need. We only have 5 cards left in the grave, or in the deck, and Dream Twist will take most of those out. So we really just want to save some life, I think. It would be nice to kill some of these oozes for the Gutter Grime. It doesn't actually work with non-creature tokens dying. Excuse me, non-token creatures dying. So it's not like they'd be getting endless stream of 2/2s, 3/3s, 4/4s. If we just continue to block those. Another makeshift mauler, that's fine. We're going to be able to answer all this in just a moment. I think we're going to go ahead and fire off the Dream Twist here. No need for the second, however. We still haven't managed to hit the journey, have we? Nope. Okay. So we could, and then on our upkeep shuffle, let's just take a chance. Maybe it's the next card. Yes, it is. Okay. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and put our opponent down to 4. And just as a matter of precaution, put a stop on our upkeep. Okay. We want to flashback spider spawning. Yeah, we're going to have to use Memory's Journey on our upkeep, so that's okay. Our opponent, as long as they can't compel us to draw cards somehow, which I don't think they can. It's a May ability with the Murder of Crows. We don't necessarily have to. Let's go ahead and make some spiders. And see what they got. Altar's Reap. Killing the rats, I guess? Yeah, so they can draw some cards, that's fine. We could draw a card, but no need to. Let's see what our opponent can do. We've got lethal in several ways, I think. Might as well attack with everything, yeah. So we could just chump some stuff. 3/3s, they're going to kill 1 spider regardless, so I don't think there's a reason not to triple block each of them. Try and cut down on this army they've got. And then just chumps on the makeshift maulers. They can sacrifice something in response, but even then they only get to kill 2 spiders. And we don't really care about that particularly. Yeah, I'm not going to actually kill one of these. I could throw the scavenger in front of it. No reason to do that. If they have like another Altar's Reap, they can lose a Mauler, grow these into 4/4s, but as I said, that only kills off 2 of our spider tokens, which we don't necessarily need anyway. As it is, they're just trading oozes for spiders, and all we need to do is decline repeatedly. Unfortunately, there is no fast way to do this. Say no to all. There we go. Alright, what you got? Interloper. That's not going to do it. Alright, so we actually have a card. We're fine. We're going to go ahead and swing. No reason to bring in the spiders either way. That'll do it. Alright, so Spider spawning then was just a way to survive our opponent's attack, but you could very easily see how continuously spawning 8, 9, 10 1-2s, even though they're only 1 power each, our opponent can't easily block that many. And slowly but surely they'll make their way in there. Maw of the Mire to hit our opponent's land doesn't seem worthwhile. That can be cool to loop endlessly with Memory's Journey, however. Get our opponent's lands. I think we're fine with the way it's set up currently, however. Yeah, let's just run it back. Frightful Delusion is pretty unimpressive, but there's a way to answer certain problem cards. Maybe we'll actually get to see it here. Now we even have a Drown Yard that can enable our milling. Okay. I was afraid of the interloper there. That is actually able to put through a little bit of damage, maybe before our spiders come down, but hopefully not 20 points. Alright, Typhoid Rat's happy to trade off the wolf for it. Probably just going to hold up mana now for Frightful Delusion on Endless Ranks or something. Actually, I'd probably just play out the Scob. And that Typhoid Rats, they might block the wolf, I don't actually know. I'm just going to go ahead and offer the trade. That way we can play the Boneyard Worm later, even though the Armored Scob will probably make that easy enough. And if they want to trade, that's fine. If not, we would trade an Armored Scob for the rats instead. I got Altar's Reap in response. Yeah, okay. They want to draw their cards. Well, I could have also just countered that, but I think we have our own plan. So we're just going to play out the Scob. They don't yet have Endless Ranks or any zombies to make use of it. If they did, then I'd probably want to hold on to Frightful Delusion for like a Moan of the Unhallowed or something. But we hit the spider spawning and a Dream Twist, so we've got the tools to win pretty much in those alone. And they're just going to deadweight our wolf. That's more than fine. I was very tempted with the Frightful Delusion on the Altar's Reap, but again, we have our own game plan. Might as well stick to it. They're just going to use the Amulet here. We could play out the Boneyard Worm, start getting some damage in. Could actually try and just kill our opponent that way. Like, what's the worst they can do with 5 mana? They've got Gutter Grime, they've got Moan of the Unhallowed, but they'll be able to pay for the Frightful Delusion. Yeah, let's actually just get a Worm out. And probably going to Dream Twist ourselves, try and make it bigger. This is a game where we might actually be able to kill our opponent with Cage Breakers. I did find a forest, so I guess that's their splash color for really just Gutter Grime. Is that all we saw? Nothing. Alright, let's Dream Twist. They have a counterspell of their own. Could be a Lost in the Mist. Hit our Memory's Journey. That's good. Let's attack into open mana. And the Cage Breakers are probably going to eat a counterspell. Do we really care, though? Let's just take it a little slow. Play the Hollowhenge Scavenger for now. Could have played that pre-combat so that if it does get countered, not through a Dissipate, but through like a Lost in the Mist, it'd be in the grave still. Alright, Frightful Delusion, sure. And I'll discard a land. So I should have played that pre-combat, get an extra point in. I don't think it's going to matter too much, though. Opponent's still just chipping away. We're getting closer to our 7 lands. Again, probably could have kept that land that we just binned. Frightful Delusion, we're not going to probably get much use out of. More Crypt Banshee, okay. Yeah, now we're just going to play out the Cage Breakers, I guess. Chump block the Banshee here. See what our opponent can do against 3/4 with an army of 2/2s coming. So, power of your creatures does help. Generally, you're okay just playing like 2/2s and unimpressive creatures because they feed the spider spawning, but it is nice when your creatures are actually capable, Boneyard Worm, Kessid Cagebreakers, of killing an opponent. So let's start. This is nice. We actually have backup, although there's no 6-mana counterspell that I'm anticipating here. Yeah, let's actually grow our worm, and we can just trade the Cagebreakers, cash them in, get a whole bunch of wolves maybe. 6 2/2s attacking, that's pretty lethal. Let's go ahead and attack. Army of Wolves comes into play. And that'll do it. Alright, so we didn't really get to see spider spawning shine that much this match, but it's really at its strongest, I think, against like a more fair, typical strategy, like green-white, green-red, things like that. So hopefully we get to play against one of those. Spirits also has a very tough time getting through. So stay tuned for match 2, everybody. Coming right up. Everyone, here we are in match 2 on the play. Let's see what we've got. Unfortunate. If we had that second land to cast Mulch, this would be a very adequate hand, but we're going to have to mulligan, unfortunately. Into a very keepable hand. Got the Captain into Armored Scob here. We could even take this Deranged Assistant. We can do better than that, though. Ways to mill ourselves. We have the Armored Scob, and we're really looking for something a bit faster, I think. So we'll just play out the Captain here. This could be blue-white tempo or green-white humans or even just red-white aggro. Looks like green-white human. We've got a decent early defensive line. Trade with a bunch of their creatures, and then we've got the Cagebreakers to finish things off, perhaps. Go ahead and swing in there for 2 points. See if we hit some Dream Twists. There's a Dream Twist. Unfortunately, no creatures. Got a bunch of lands we don't need out of the way. Eventually we'll need to get to 7. This is going to be probably a lengthy enough game that we're going to flashback Spider Spawn. There we go, Mulch, that's what we're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and leave open the blue so that we can still Dream Twist. And we milled a creature and a nice flashback spell. Perfect. Let's go ahead and see if they tap down our Armored Scob. They did not. So they're going to equip this to like Unruly Mob. Yeah, it's actually just stay back on D for now. No need to trade 2 damage and take 4 and reply or something like that. They're going to tap our Scob, so that can't block. But anything they do, they've got to like, not even sure. Actually, yeah, grow out of reach, it's fine. We'll still just block. Bonds of Faith on the Unruly Mob. I don't mind that at all. I will even go ahead and trade you here. We're just going to upgrade into a 3/4 anyway. Opponent might be stuck on lands here. I would have probably equipped, I don't know. Let's go ahead and mill 3. Hit another 2 creatures, nice. 4 of them now. We could do better than that for spider spawning. Let's go ahead and, well, let's actually let them tap our Armored Scob. They did not. Not that it matters. Play out the spider spawn. Oh, what am I doing? A little fast there, clicking through. I don't think it's going to make a difference. That should have been a Kessid Cagebreakers, though. I even said that earlier. Sorry about that, everyone. But I do not think it's going to make a large difference here. Unless they're main decking like Purify the Grave, and they're able to time it in such a way that we cannot get this back with Runic Repetition. We do have a second one in the deck for a reason, however. But yeah, that should have been a Cagebreakers, alas. Are they going to attack into my spiders? Sure. We'll quadruple block here. If you've got... Actually, if they have a Moment of Heroism, I'd rather just lose the 3, not the 4th. That's fine. They have a Moment of Heroism. So be it. I kill 3 tokens and gain a bunch of life, but the life does not matter here. I'm going to be flashing that back eventually, probably after Forbidden Alchemy. Let's go ahead and make an army of wolves, though, with every attack. And we're just super happy if they attack, get to trade off like Armored Scobs. Just grows the worm, grows the spider spawn. Our opponent has had enough, so unfortunately we're not really getting to show how the endless looping works. Our opponents are scooping before that happens, but they can see it coming essentially, in that with spider spawning and runic repetition and Memory's Journey, we cannot be decked. We can make unlimited spiders turn after turn, and there really is no combination of cards our opponents can have to deal with that. This is going to be a more aggressive deck than our previous opponent, so let's actually bring in the Fortress Crab and maybe the Somber Walled Spider. They're going to have some white flyers probably. We can probably take out a land on the draw, even a swamp, and that should be fine. Might not even need the second Runic Repetition, but just in case our opponent is packing some kind of graveyard hate like Purify the Grave. Yeah, let's run this back. Try not to make any obvious misclicks, misplays. This is not an explosive hand, but it's got some tools to it. I like having Memory's Journey just safely in hand. Runic Repetition also is fine to have. Really, we're just looking for like Dream Twists and Mulches. Our opponent has a very slow start. That's always good. Cloistered Youth, that would have been more brutal last turn, but now we get to play the Occultist. They're going to have to transform to get through, and I think that's going to be fine. Ideally, we find like an Armored Scob or something, a blocker. They cannot get through. I'm not going to trade off the Occultist just yet, even though that would allow us to play the Boneyard Worm. We're only taking 3. It's fine. Elder Cathar, no big deal. Not going to play out the Boneyard Worm. It would just immediately die, which will allow us to mill ourselves twice. Well, to put maybe 2 creatures in the grave, I mean. The creature itself obviously goes away, and then the Occultist triggers again. Unfortunately here, they are going to prey upon and kill us. That's okay. We'll mill ourselves, hopefully hit a Dream Twist. Yes, no? That's unfortunate, the swamp. We're going to have to tuck that back in with Memory's Journey eventually. But still, we're only taking 5. We get to play out like Murder of Crows now. This is getting a little scary though. We didn't quite have many creatures to play early. Let's see, still just land. The 4/5 blocks all but the boar, so does the 4/4 though. So let's just play out the crows. Hopefully they don't have like a Smite the Monstrous or something. They can only get for 5 now. Actually, they could attack with the Elder Cathar also. We're going to go ahead and kill... Oh, they have a Moment of Heroism. Yikes. We're going to be chumping for some time until we deal with this boar. So killing the Elder Cathar would be nice. They're going to put counters probably on the Fiend. Actually, maybe on the boar even. Let's just block the Fiend. If they have Moment of Heroism, it's fine. We'll get to... hopefully stabilize soon behind something. No, we're just going to keep drawing land, sadly. Yeah, that's going to do it, actually. Yikes. Okay, well, we did not manage to draw very many creatures this game, sadly. So hopefully we can do better in this one. There's really not much more to bring in. I guess a Hysterical Blindness could help. Probably not more than what we have here. Let's just try again. We will take the play, even though we're at 16 lands. I like to be on the draw for that reason, but we need ways to keep pace with our opponent. So again, this is a very light hand. Don't have much to do in the early turns, but Undead Alchemist and Cage Breakers can generate their own armies if they survive. Our opponent had a pretty slow start last game. We really just need to draw like the Crab, sell off Occultists, Dark Thicket Wolf, things that can interact early. Armored Scab is a great one. Alright, just an unruly mob. And there's the wolf, that's fine though. Gonna mill ourselves, hopefully some creatures, another Armored Scab, and a Dream Twist. Perfect. We'll actually get to play the Dark Thicket Wolf and the Dream Twist next turn. Could play another Scab, but yeah, let's play out another creature and twist ourselves. Dagger can put a mob able to punch through even a Scab, but that's okay. We got another one. That's going to grow this into a 2/2, so we actually will want to have more power with the Dark Thicket Wolf. So I'm going to trade off the 1/4. And then twist ourselves. Hitting spider spawning, creature, and a land. Boneyard Worm, alright. Didn't hit that land, sadly, that's okay. Yeah, let's just keep on churning through. Another Dream Twist, 2 more creatures, and a land. Not half bad. Now our Boneyard Worm is going to be quite large, as will our Kessig Cage Breakers. Alright, this is almost definitely another moment of heroism, but we're not going to just take 5 repeatedly. It doesn't matter that they're gaining life either, it's fine. Now we get our Cage Breakers out. I think they basically have to leap back the mob unless they have some kind of removal for it. There's not much though in just mono white. Prey upon if they have a forest, but they lose their guy too. Now we just need a swamp really. 3-Open Sentry and pass. Alrighty. So we could get 6 wolves in. That's a lot of killing. This is gonna they're gonna trade the mob for the Cage Breakers. This will transform into a 5/4. We would hit them for 12 damage with the 6 wolves. We don't need to do that just yet. We would get to also play the Scavenger, not that that really matters. Let's just play the Alchemist for now, I think. And then next turn we've got Boneyard Worm and flashing back Dream Twist. Hopefully we draw that swamp. We don't have a moment of heroism to worry about too much. If we can... Oh. This is unfortunate. Our opponents are scooping a little too early, I think, but they know spider spawning is in there. We can't flash it back yet. Oh, there's the mulch, which would have found us into just a forest. So yeah, we would have had plenty of creatures to work with the Cage Breakers and the Boneyard Worm, but that game still definitely felt like there was some life to it. Oh well, hopefully match 3 is a bit lengthier. Stay tuned, everybody. Hello there, everyone. Here we are in match 3 on the draw with a very impressive hand, I think. Got the mulch to get our early lands, and then Scholar into Alchemist, and there even is the spider spawning. Our opponent, though, with a potentially explosive start of their own, they've got Avacyn's Pilgrim. Let's see what they can do with it. If they play a 3-drop, like a Mentor of the Meek. Oh, no, they're just attacking. Okay. Into a Dark Thicket Wolf. That's fine. Let's go ahead and mulch it up. Hope to hit that swamp. Nope. That's okay, though. Runic Repetition and a creature. So the jig is basically up. They know what we're playing, pretty much. We can discard this forest here. I actually think these creatures are going to be better suited as blockers and dying in combat rather than just discarding them. Opponent just wants to get that damage in, heading us down to 14 already. Got the Cage Breakers coming soon, though. Let's just trade these off happily. They want to spend their entire turns pumping the wolf to kill, break through our Armored Scab. That's very adequate. We're just going to keep putting creatures into the graveyard as we wait to hit that 5th land. Not let them cast any spells. Sure. Dream Twist even, so now we can play the Scob and Twist. And then next turn, we should have a whole bunch of spiders coming. Got 4 creatures already in the grave, soon to be maybe 5. And block. I can play a 3-drop still. That's a lot better than a 5 or 6, however. Five creatures in the graveyard. Okay, let's see what we hit. Hopefully it's not just like 3 lands in a row. Dream Twist, yeah, land, Runic Repetition, that was pretty disappointing. But we found a land anyway. So let's just play up the Cage Breakers, bait some removal maybe, and then get all the spiders we need to hide behind. If our opponent wants to leave this back so it can block and kill the Cage Breakers, we'll still get a whole bunch of wolf tokens. And they're actually going to maybe play something this turn. That's acceptable. We will not just throw away our Cage Breakers. Oh, they're just still forcing through damage. Okay. So 3/4, they could double block. We'd kill the Avacyn's Pilgrim and get some more stuff. Do we have double Dream Twist? We do. So we could actually Dream Twist ourselves twice as well. Let's see what we hit. How many creatures can we get here? Another one. Could wait, play an Undead Alchemist. Let's just keep twisting. Another 2. So what is that, like 7? 8 creatures. So we could hit them for like 16 points right there and have a whole bunch of chump blockers for the following turn. We are going to eat a hit from the Dark Thicket Wolf, but that's fine. We'll take them down to 4 and they can't really attack us anymore. Oh, they're actually going to leave our Cage Breakers alive? That can't be right. Yeah, they got to double block it. And we'll just kill the Avacyn's Pilgrim, taking them off a land. They can still hit us for 4. But then we get to untap with 8 wolves, and 2 of them getting through is lethal. So our opponent has, I don't know, if they don't even necessarily know we're spider spawning, they probably can guess based on what we're doing and having Runic Repetition in there. They probably know, but we didn't actually have to show them spider spawning there. Another blue-green deck. Not really sure what's going on. Let's just play the same thing. On the draw, even. Oh, I'll bring in a crab over an island, I guess. Another effective blocker for that wolf. Another creature to add to the pile. We haven't really gotten to show off the infinite spider spawning, however. Memory's Journey, Runic Repetition, and spider spawning. We're winning too many games, I think, with just Kessig Cage Breakers and Murder of Crows. Hopefully, this is our last chance, pretty much. Okay, we'll keep it. Turn 1 Avacyn's Pilgrim? Nope, alright. Just gonna go ahead and spam the Dream Twist. Let's hit some creatures here. Flash it back, then play Scob. That's already 10 cards in the grave. Just gonna hit for 4. Yeah, I like that. Another 2 creatures and the Memory's Journey, not bad. Let's go ahead and play out our good friend Armored Scob. Another Armored Scob and a Dream Twist. We're getting through this deck real quick. Just gonna jump. opponent is not a fan of developing their own board, it seems. And that will work out well for us. So, next turn we can Dream Twist and play one of these threes, probably Alchemy. Let's just play out the crab for now. Not even the Dark Thicket Wolf can get through this guy. Let's see if the Despair has set in yet. Grizzled Outcasts. Alright, even that as a 7/7 could get through. We can almost trade with it with the Boneyard Worm. I bet we can after we Dream Twist and Flashback, Dream Twist and play Alchemy. But we're just going to continue to play... Actually, we'll play the Worm, I think. It's either that or the Twist. They still can't get through. Well, yeah, they could attack with both. We could block one with the Crab, and Wolf with the Cultist. I don't want to actually lose the Cultist yet. This way they still cannot get through, and we can even start attacking with the Worm if we want to. Nice little combat trick. We can grow it, probably like 2 or 3 even with the Alchemy and Twist. If our opponent doesn't do anything, we can just transform it back even. Yeah, let's see what we get. Oh, actually, we just start off with the Alchemy in case we find a 3-drop worth playing. Murder of Crows or the Scob. We could really grow this worm here. It's already going to be 7/7 in just a second, no matter what we take here. Murder of Crows is a little too good to pass up, though, I think. Yeah, we'll take it out. And we'll just twist ourselves. That'll transform the Krowlin Horde back. We have a 9/9. Still not really worth trading for just one creature. And back you go. Just gonna pass again. Alright. We can mulch into a 5th land, I think, and then play the Murder of Crows. Sure. Spider spawning, Cage Breakers, and Repetition. Wow. What a mill. Let's just play out the murder. And pass. Transforming the whatever this is, Krowlin Horde back. And next turn the fun really begins. Maybe, just maybe, our opponent has 7 cards in hand. Maybe they'll play long enough that we can spider spawning at least 3 times to really get our spider count up. Let's go ahead and attack with the Boneyard and the Crows. Okay. Mill ourselves and draw a card? Why not? Yeah, sure. We don't need this mulch anymore. Do need to be careful about decking ourselves, of course. We do have Memory's Journey waiting with 7/8 mana. Let's spider spawn. 10 spiders, please. Oh, that'll do it. Alright, well, we didn't really get to show how funny spider spawning can be, but I think we got to show how powerful it is. We had the Runic Repetition in hand and the Memory's Journey in the grave. So next turn, like on our upkeep, if we wanted to, we could Memory's Journey back, Runic Repetition, and Krowlin Horde, and or Kessig Cage Breakers rather, and like Nephalia Drownyard. Doesn't matter. But that exiles the Memory's Journey, which we then get back with Runic Repetition, and so as you can see, goes infinite with itself. And with 2 Runic Repetitions even, we can get back the spider spawning repeatedly and prosper. So that is spider spawning. And this will probably, unfortunately, be my final draft of the 2018 Halloween season. But here's looking forward to next year. Stay tuned, everybody, for more Magic and other such videos coming soon. Thanks for your review.